everybody, I'm Liz, and today it is time for me to do my February reading wrap-up. In February, I only actually managed to read and finish 2 books. We have Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson and the Alexander Hamilton biography by Ron Chernow. I read both of these books through audiobook, and the narrator was definitely top-notch, and I enjoyed both books tremendously. I definitely finished Mistborn first, and this book is so fantastic. I absolutely love the elementic magical abilities where you ingest and burn metals to produce a certain type of power. Not everybody has this ability, and some are only able to burn one metal, others can burn all metals, and that is what it means to be a Mistborn. We have one primary main character called Vin. She is a 17-year-old girl who grew up on the streets and basically didn't know she was Mistborn until she met another main character named Kelsier. He is also a Mistborn, and he's also the leader of the revolution who wants to take down the Lord Ruler. The Lord Ruler heavily oppresses his people, and this book really talks about the oppression and how it really enhances and motivates people to join the revolution. And there are 2 primary types of people in this book. There are the rulers and the hierarchy, those natural-born, God-born people, and then there are the Ska. They are the workers, they're looked down upon, and they're servants and slaves, and they're just not treated nicely at all, especially to the point where the natural-born populace feel like they are dumb and they're not exactly human. So it definitely pulls into a lot of those oppression and prejudice type tropes in this book. And there's also a lot of violence in the book. Vin is really good at fighting, and she really has to fight her way through a lot of situations. So it is very interesting, and Vin constantly wars with herself because of these new abilities and discovering that she is more than meets the eye. So I love the inner turmoil and the external turmoil in this book. I definitely see why people really love this story, and I definitely do give this book a 5 out of 5. With the Alexander Hamilton biography, it is a monster of a book, and it can get dry at some times, and that is why I was very grateful to pick up the audiobook, because it really let those dry spells speed up. I was very intrigued by some of the controversy in Hamilton's life, not just with what we know by the Maria Reynolds affair and the Reynolds pamphlets, but also with the controversies of his death and the duel and what were his motivations of going to that duel. But there was also controversy surrounding his parentage. We all know who his mother is. However, there is some controversy to whether James Hamilton is actually his father. So there's definitely very much controversy in his life, and I definitely enjoyed reading about all those personal aspects. However, this book, once it got to him in America and learning how to write and be that founding father, that revolutionary figure, it really centered around that even after the Revolutionary War, where it got to him being Secretary of Treasury. It just kind of stuck with that, and so it put all of his personal aspects on the back burner, and I really wanted to know more about his personal life, especially with his affair with Maria Reynolds. It talks about it very briefly, and I wanted just a little bit more about that personal story, not just his working life. I do have to say that I mostly picked this up because of the Hamilton musical, and I am definitely glad I picked it up because you can definitely see where Lin-Manuel Miranda picked up his inspiration, and that really made for reading this all the much better. And so I will give this book itself a 4 out of 5, but I only finished those 2 books, and I'm a little ashamed about that because, as you guys know, I have been reading Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and I've also been reading Stormglass by Maria V. Snyder. And I haven't made a whole lot of leeway with Six of Crows. I'm only about halfway through on Six of Crows, and then I made a little bit more progress with Stormglass because I'm currently about 70% of the way through on that book. I also picked up the second book in the Mistborn series called Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, and I got 85% of the way through on this book when my digital library loan ended and I could not finish my audiobook of this. I did request a renewal, but it didn't go through, so I'm still waiting for the audiobook, and sadly to say, I haven't actually made any progress by reading the physical copy. So I am still going to be reading those 3 books. I'm going to try to finish them as soon as possible. I have also requested A Clash of Kings, which is the book 2 in the Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin, better known as the Game of Thrones series. And I've also requested Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone through audiobook as well, because I feel like this is the year that I'm actually going to reread the series, and I felt like everybody has such high praise for the audiobooks that I want to try them out while I reread them. Alright, so here's my bout of shame. I should have read so much more this month, and I can blame it on homework, but in all reality, I watched way too much TV this past month. Particularly what I've been watching has been Scrubs. I have rekindled my love and interest for Scrubs. I've also been really binge watching Jane the Virgin, and I have recently picked up Emerald City. This is a new Wizard of Oz retelling, reimagining, with modern twists and science and everything that's so absolutely cool about the Wizard of Oz. Anyway, I have definitely been distracted in my reading this month, and I feel like hopefully in March I'll pick up my reading, finish the books that I've been working on all February, and pick up new stories. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments down below what books you finished in the month of February, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!